dressed very nicely, they then went to see a weaver. And a weaver is one who makes ornaments with cloth. The weaver was anticipating Krishna's coming, and he was, this is a description of who the washerman was in his previous life. And he was the washerman who criticized Ramchandra. You know? When his wife was not back one evening, he scolded her severely and said, "I'm not a henpecked person like Ram. I will not maintain you, a sinner that returns at dawn from another's house. Ramachandra, who is greedy to enjoy with his wife, may continue to maintain his Sita, but I am not like him." He spoke some very harsh words against Ram. His next life, he was also a washerman and became liberated by Krishna. The next encounter was with the weaver. This is the weaver over here. This is Krishna and Balaram along with the cowherd boys. Weaver's disposition was very different. He had heard Krishna was coming, and he made arrangements ahead of time to prepare very nice ornaments for Krishna. He was very happy to engage in some service to Krishna. And I'm just going to keep going. And then came the florist. The florist's name was Sudama. Same name as the Brahmana Sudamana, but this is a different Sudama. He's a florist. Little story about Sudama. Because he was a florist, he would go to different places where he heard there were nice flowers. So he heard that there were nice flowers in Vrindavan. So from time to time he would go to Vrindavan and gather flowers. And one time when he went to Vrindavan to gather flowers, off in the distance he saw Krishna. And he was so stunned with the beauty of Krishna, the whole scene of Krishna and Balaram, the cowherd boys. He just stood there like a statue, staring, feasting his eyes upon the beautiful form of Krishna. And so, in the course of time, he would regularly go and see Krishna. And he became devotion for Krishna. So when Krishna was coming, he was thrilled. There's a detailed description when Krishna went right to his house, because Krishna is omniscient. And Sudama had they had gathered some flowers and two partially completed garlands hanging on the wall. Krishna just glanced at them. He didn't say anything. But cultured people don't necessarily need to have somebody say something. Just eye movement can tell them. He knew that Krishna wanted the garland, and he wanted to give the garland to Krishna. So he quickly completed the garland and offered the garland to Krishna. And Krishna said two things. Krishna said, in this life, you will be blessed with great wealth, great health, and a long life. Happy, long life. And I'd like to give you some benediction. Whatever it is that you like, imagine. He asked for three things. Life after life, may I simply be engaged in pure devotion to you. He also requested, may I always have the association of your devotees. And the third thing he asked for is, may I always have a friendly disposition towards all living entities. Please bless me in that way. Krishna smiled. So be it. The next encounter after the florist was Kubja. Kubja had another service to Kamsa. She took care of the fragrant oils and sandalwood paste and other fragrances, royal fragrances for the king. As soon as Kubja saw Krishna, she immediately, shamelessly, shyly losing all of her shyness, she just approached Krishna and said, these are for you. And put sandalwood paste on Krishna and Balaram and gave them scented oils. And Krishna she was spontaneously moved with devotion, seeing the beauty of Krishna. She had another name besides Kubja. Her name was Trivikra. Means she was bent in 3 places. You know, Ashtavakra, he was bent in 8 places. She was Trivikra. So Krishna put his foot on the tip of her toe, and with one finger, put it under her chin, whoop, and she straightened up. Just like that. And became very beautiful. And with her eyes, she was looking upon Krishna in a very special way. Krishna said, let me perform my duties here. I will fulfill your desire later. It is said in Garga Samhita, Kubja in her previous life was Shuparnaka. And although she desired to enjoy with Ram, her demoniac mentality was too much. But here as the servant of Kamsa, she had the opportunity to serve Krishna in a very personal way. Now, this is going to be a little bit longer than the time was allotted. I hope it's okay, because the pictures are very nice. And it's all about Krishna anyway. So, Krishna, this is still in the evening. Krishna's in Mathura. He went right to the place where the bow was kept. He picked up the bow and not only strung the bow, but he broke the bow. And as he was going, because the festival was the next day, and Krishna just took the bow and broke the bow. It's the bow of Lord Vishnu. There's a whole story behind the bow. I'll tell you the story when we get there. After Krishna broke the bow, all the soldiers came and tried to stop this little boy. He broke the bow. He gave half the bow to Balaram, and he kept the other half and smashed the soldiers of Kamsa. Finished them. The bow festival was over because the bow was broken. I'll skip with the history of the bow. And that night they camped outside the wall of Mathura with Nanda Maharaj and the other cowherd men and the other cowherd boys, waiting for the next day's activity. Kamsa heard all these things, the breaking of the bow, and all these events, the killing of the washerman. That night, Kamsa couldn't sleep. He was having very, very bad dreams. He was dreaming of seeing himself walking with a shadow that had holes in it. Then another dream, he was riding in a chariot in the sky, driven by donkeys. And then he had another part of his dream, he was looking at himself in the mirror, and there was no head. Pretty scary dream. He didn't have a good night's rest at all. He understood, just as Narada had said, that 8th child of Devaki has come. Just as Akura said, by bringing Krishna to Mathura, I'm inviting my own death. He knew. So the next day, Krishna and Balaram tried entering into the gates of Mathura, but there was this huge elephant that they had made intoxicated, just especially to kill Krishna. And the 2 elephant trainers were goading the elephant to charge Krishna. But Krishna very expertly stepped to the side, went underneath the elephant and grabbed his tail. And then he rushed around front and grabbed his trunk, pulled on his trunk so hard that the elephant fell to the ground. And then he started swinging the elephant around and around and around and smashed him on the ground with his own trunk. And then he broke off the tusks of the elephant, and Balaram broke off the other tusk, and they started beating him with his own tusks. Kuva Vyapita. was finished. And then Krishna and Balaram, carrying the tusks on their shoulder, walked toward the wrestling arena of Kamsa. And there's a very beautiful verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm just going to read the translation. It shows it here. As he was entering into the wrestling arena, different groups of people regarded Krishna in different ways. Wrestlers saw Krishna as a lightning bolt. The men of Mathura as the best of males. The women as Cupid in person. The cowherd men as their relative. The impious rulers as a chastiser. His parents as their child. The king of the Bhojas as death. The unintelligent as the Supreme Lord's universal form. The yogis as the absolute truth. And the Vrishnis as their supreme worshipable deity. One person, seen by different individuals according to their own regard, their own disposition. Same person, the object of everyone, seen in different ways by different individuals. Krishna strode into the wrestling arena, smiling with Balaram. Chandra and Mustaka approached them, challenged them. Krishna and Balaram said, we're just 12 years old, and you're a grown man. The match does not seem to be fair, but if you wish to fight us, we will. And the wrestling began. As strong as these wrestlers were, Krishna and Balaram, just young of age, an intense wrestling match ensued. There's a picture that gets closer, a close-up of Krishna and Chanura. These are his brothers, because after Chandra and Mustaka were destroyed, there were fights with the brothers.